it's not exactly a small deal either. Let's talk about it. The Toronto Maple Leafs have sent Nick Waugh to the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for a conditional 2027 first round pick and a conditional 2026 fifth round pick. What are the conditions? Glad you asked. From Chris Johnston, follow him. If you don't, you're a silly goose. The Leafs get a 2027 first round pick, top 10 protected, and conditional 2026 fifth rounder from Colorado for Nick Waugh. If the 2027 first rounder falls in the top 10 picks, the Leafs get Colorado's 2028 first rounder. Toronto receives the lowest of Colorado's three 2026 fifth round picks, belonging to Philly, Boston, and Colorado. For the fifth round pick, I don't know. That's nice. That's nice to have. We don't need to spend a whole ton of time on it. The Leafs are going to get a pick from Colorado. Just for reference, a fifth round pick is anywhere between pick number 129 and 160. That's why we're not going to spend that much time on it. As for the first round pick, that's a first round pick. There's only a couple flags on it. Number one, it's 2027, so you'd like your picks to be as soon as possible so that you can draft a player as soon as possible so that they can get into the NHL as soon as possible and help your team be not bad anymore as soon as possible. 2027 is one thing if the pick were to fall into the top 10 and then it has to be kicked to 2028. Now that's another year down the road. That's 3 drafts from now. Now, I pretty highly doubt that 2027 first round pick is going to end up in the top 10 on account of Colorado's going to win like the President's Trophy this year anyway. I'd be very surprised if they suddenly became a lottery team between now and the end of next season. Although Colorado just made a deal with the team that won their division last year and is currently a seller. So, it needs to be pointed out that I think it's very, very funny. The Leafs rested 3 players last night, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Bobby McMann, and Scott Laughton, and the first guy that they traded wasn't any of them. It was Nick Waugh, who played last night. But I'm not going to nickel and dime them because even though there's a couple flags on the first round pick, it's not this year, right? Looking at the price that the Leafs got, you would assume, oh, they retained on Nick Waugh, right? Which would be half of $3 million this season and next. They didn't. The Leafs didn't retain on Nick Waugh. And for that reason, I think it's a great return, man. It's a really great return. There's risk with everything, and the biggest risk here is having that pick go from 2027 to 2028. I think it's a relatively safe bet that that won't happen. Might it happen? Yeah. It's still a good return. You get a first and a fifth for Nick Waugh. You don't have to retain, and you still get 3 retention slots that you can use on Laughton if you want to, on McMahon if you wanted to, on Ekman-Larsson if you wanted to, although he goes into next season and after that. I don't know if you want to retain on Ekman-Larsson, but you might get a ton for him. Look at the prices going around. Hey, remember the notion that it was a buyer's market? Here, LeBron today, as one team exec said to me this morning, it's definitely a seller's market right now. Prices are sky high for the buyers, not an overabundance of players available either. Well. Listen, at the time I'm recording this, the trade deadline is like 26 hours away. It's been a long wait. It's been an anxious wait. It's been an uncomfortable wait. It's been the kind of wait that has shaken my confidence in this management group to breaking point, where I don't want to see them come back. I straight up don't want to see them come back. First round pick for Nick Waugh, with more to come, gives me a little bit of pause. I won't lie, not a ton of it, but some. Listen, the playoffs, that's not going to happen. I definitely don't think so. But there is still time to turn this disaster class into something that genuinely helps the organization going forward. Speaking of the playoffs, my one regret with this trade is that we never got to see Nick Waugh in a Leafs uniform in a Stanley Cup playoff game. This guy is a gamer, and I know a lot of Leaf fans were like, Nick Waugh, whatever. That's a good player. That's a great player. There's a reason why he has a Stanley Cup. He was a key part of that Vegas team in 2023. He's the reason why I don't have to sit here and talk to the Colorado Avalanche fans watching this video and explain who Nick Waugh is. You know. You had to play against that guy in the Western Conference for how many years? And was it nice? Probably not. He's a center. He didn't play, I don't think he played any wing on the Leafs. If he did, it was very little, but I believe in Vegas, he also played wing. He's listed at 6'4", 200 pounds, and he's a rare breed of player these days in that he actually uses it. He's a bully with the body, and he has a sneaky amount of points this year, like more than I thought. No, it's not a ton. In 59 games, he's got 5 goals, 15 assists for 20 points. So about a third of a point per game. His career high is 51. He had 43 last season. And this is the other thing about Nick Waugh's tenure in Toronto. 5 goals this season in 59 games. Last season, 15 goals in 71. Season before, 13 goals in 70. Season before, 14 goals in 65. 15 goals in 78. In the 4 seasons before this one on a Leafs team that was awful, let's call it what it is, Nick Waugh proved he is a far more capable offensive player than he showed in Toronto. I know some Leafs fans are a little come see, come saw on this player. I think he's going to fit Colorado wonderfully. I think he's going to be a great depth contributor for them. And I think he's a great piece for that team. There's some disappointment, I know, in Colorado Avalanche fans, mostly producer Drew, who's editing this right now, that he's not someone a little more high-end. You know, you heard about the reunion potentially of like Nazem Kadri coming back, or like Vinny Trocheck's name is out there. Is Nick Waugh either of those guys? No. But he's played in double-digit playoff games 4 times in his career. He had 11 points in 22 games in the Stanley Cup playoff run that led Vegas to the Stanley Cup. That's a half a point a game. He takes the occasional penalty, but really not a lot given the role that he plays on this team. On the Leafs, he had 10 penalty minutes this season. That's it. And I don't remember him fighting, so I'm going to go with that was 5 minor penalties in 60 games almost. He's a big center. He's versatile. He can kill penalties. He's a right-handed center, which is quickly becoming a right-handed defenseman. Please teach your kid how to shoot right-handed. Oh my goodness. We don't have enough of these guys. Do I think Colorado paid a bit of an exorbitant price for this player? Yeah. But you're also going to get this player for the rest of this regular season, for this Stanley Cup playoff run, and all of next season, and next season's very likely Stanley Cup playoff run. And in the event the Avalanche find themselves in the exact same position that the Leafs find themselves in now, at least you could go into the trade deadline knowing that, well, we could probably get a pretty decent return for Nick Waugh. This season on the Leafs, I thought almost everybody who played with Nick Waugh had a better season than without him. Matthias Michelli recently, Dakota Joshua recently, Nick Robertson for a little while. Nick Waugh is probably a big reason why Bobby McMahon is such a big name at this trade deadline. McMahon was looking for his place in the lineup. It didn't even look like he would necessarily be an everyday player. Then McMahon got paired up with Nick Waugh and Dakota Joshua and was so good in that role on the third line that he got promoted into the top 6 and he rode it for the rest of the season. This is a good player. I don't know if you should be spending a 1st and a 5th on this player, but you did. And at very least, you're going to get 2 seasons use out of him. And it's hard to find a playoff resume like this one. Now, I'm going to wrap this up because it's getting spicy from Elliot Friedman. Officially, Colton Parayko has declined to waive his no-trade clause to Buffalo. Oh, baby! The trade deadline is at 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern on the SDPN YouTube channel, we are going to be streaming our reaction once the dust settles to everything that happened on the 2026 NHL trade deadline. For now, my friends, let me know what you think in the comments down below about this trade, and that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really like to tell your friends. Nice start, but you can't be done now. What's next?